Kitesurfing magazine. We're here with Brendan Tribe, multiple Triple S winner, and he's heading up Liquid Force right now, and he's going to walk us through a bunch of new stuff. There's a new solo we're going to take a look at, and we're going to look at the oil lineup at the end and a few other pretty cool products in between. So I'll jump on the other side, and off we go.
All right. So if you can't quite hear me, I'm sorry. It's blowing like 900 miles an hour here at the Hood River event site at the AWSI Classic. Good gorge conditions. We're here to talk about some of the new kites in our line, and specifically the Solo. We're going to call it the 2020 Solo. And I'm really excited about this kite because it's one that really has improved from the previous version. It's got a great sweet spot. We've done a lot of changes to improve the feel of the kite throughout the whole sheeting range of the bar. As you know, one strut kites don't have a lot of structural integrity in terms of struts, and we wanted a kite that had still pack performance, so the leading edge is not necessarily a really large diameter, low aspect leading edge, and that allowed us to make a kite that has a much more, I don't know, broad feel throughout the bar. It engages really well. It has really good power delivery. There's a lot of changes we did in the profile, in the arc, and the shape of the kite, as well as the bridles. We have a sliding bridles, which is one of the first times we've done that at Liquid Force. I pushed to have that on the kite. I think it improved the feel of the kite on the bar and just made an overall better performing single strut kite. So again, it's a kite not just for hydrofoiling, it's really good for free ride exploring. It has a good sweet spot in range. You can cover a lot of wind speeds with just two kites, and it gives you a lot of great user-friendly performance. So I think that's kind of the Solo in a nutshell. If you're really into twin tipping, we have a great twin tip in our line called the Absolute. It's a stab at, Liquid Force has always been known for our board manufacturing, and we wanted to take our board manufacturing to the highest level that you can see in the industry standard. So built with, Textream carbon top and bottom sheet. There's also substrate on here to protect that beautiful Textream carbon, so you're not just riding this thing into the ground. Minimal graphic means minimal weight, and it comes in at about 2.7 kg. It's extremely light. I don't know. You wanna feel it? It's pretty freaking light for a twin tip, which I think is really great. It has a really snappy, lively feel, and it's a board that I know isn't for everybody, but the people that do love these high-end, lively carbon boards really do love them. So we're happy to bring our board, kind of like our board building skills, to the table as well.
There's a lot of 3D shaping in that line.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see that when you get it on the camera. We have a center spine that runs down the middle to give you nice stiffness in the middle. You can kind of feel it here. It tapers off the rails. The rails are rounded rails. For those of you that are familiar with our liquid rail, it's a poured liquid rail, but we have a nice round shape. We kind of I guess the layman's way is routed a round shape into here. That transitions into a sharper tip. So you have release in the tail, you have hold through the middle. There's a deep double concave, like a V-spine channel down the middle. So those not only help the board roll toe to heel and make it really transitional, they also catch air when you land, so the board lands a little bit softer and you have good release through the tail block. It's a lively, super snappy board. I've been riding it a lot. It's pretty nice, actually, yeah. So that would be the Absolute. That's a twin tip that we're really excited. We have a full range of twin tips, as usual, from beginner boards all the way through advanced boards, but this one's really kind of new and shiny and bright and beautiful.
Is that a brand new deck pad on it?
Is that a brand new deck pad? Yeah, they're not brand new. We've had these in the line for a couple years. They're really popular. They're really soft and fit a lot of people's feet. They have adjustability down here in the side. They come in two sizes. They cover everybody. You have an ergonomic dual density EVA foot pad that's built for your foot with a tow bar. You have underneath here, you can't see, but you can put different density EVAs in the bottom, so you can get a different cushion in your heel. Really easy and adjustable. They're super comfortable. Kind of an homage to way back in 2006 when we had the foot pad. We had these amazing foot pads that just everyone was loving. So really wanted to make a really smooth rider to board connection. Yeah. So that's kind of that one. I have right here, before we talk about foils, we can get an up close look at some stuff that we have in the line. This is our Glider 125, which is 1,250 cm of surface area. There's a lot of different numbers being thrown around. I think the industry is starting to hone in on they want surface area so they know what size their wing is. The thing about low lift, really wide wings is they don't roll over as well side to side, so you get these big surfy floaty wings that have a ton of lift, but they don't carve and drive through turns as well. You need a lot of leverage to lay them over. So by keeping the wingspan short but the lift surface high, we have a really carvy, smooth wing that is really fun to rip around on.
That really looks like the tip is like almost cut right off.
Yeah. I mean, nice and flat. It also means you can lay this thing over and like shark fin it and breach this whole wing out of the water, and the cavitation releases off the end of the wing really cleanly, and you can kind of get back up to lift. We have a flat, no curve in the tail, which makes it again really carvy and surfy. And this is mounted on our all-new HD fluid fuselage, which is really hydrodynamically optimized for our wing surfaces. So the front of the wing mounts in really nice and flush down in here, removing any cavitation, or anything like that. The mast recesses into here, as you can see, so that also removes that spot for having too much cavitation, and then it tapers off really thin into the tail. So it's like it's a triangular geometry to give you stiffness, but nice and tapered to give us good hydrodynamic flow. And we also have two options for where you can mount your tail wings. I think this has made an outstanding difference in the feel and the way our wings ride. You can ride a really low speed, like high lift wing, but still go fast when that gust comes through and still edged out, and it's just given it a lot of drive and made it feel really.
How did you decide when to move the back wing forward and back?
So the farthest back is stability. A little bit further forward is more carvy. So if you're just learning to foil or you want a really stable, smooth feel on your foil, then definitely the longer you can make the distance, the more stable it is for that person that's kind of like up and down, not really sure. Once you have the up and down locked and you feel good about that, slide it forward. Now you can start to lay it over and carve it a lot more, so you'll get a lot more carving performance on that.
How about for someone who's learning how to drive and actually move their feet during their transitions?
I think still you want all that stability in the back, right? Because you want that board to stay nice and flat and easy when you step on it. You want to know where that little sweet spot on that lift is, and I think it's important that you get a nice long stable mass for that.
Okay, cool. You guys have a pretty full lineup of boards for flowboarding, so let's maybe walk over.
Yeah, we can sneak over here and check them out. All right, I think that'll be pretty easy. Got a speaker pointed at us, but
that's okay.
So I guess we can, if we're just gonna do it, I might as well show them all. It's kind of, we've been building a tree of boards and hydrofoil products since we first started making hydrofoils. I don't say we were the first kite company to make hydrofoils, they were making them, but I feel like we were a part of pushing everybody to make an affordable hydrofoil that everyone can ride. So we continue that with our rocket foil board. It's dual purpose. You can whack some fins in it. You have a track mounting hardware here. It's compression molded, so it is a bit heavier, but the price point is really aimed at building, again, a package that someone could get into the sport of hydrofoiling and not spend a ton of money to get on the water and feel the float. We moved from that one straight into our Galaxy, which is one of our best-selling boards. Again, it's a compression molded board, but with a foam core, so it's really light. It has chined rails, a concave top deck to be really nice when you're standing on it. Nose rocker with a V-hull, which again is for water displacement, keeping the nose up. Everything good. You have a nice flat tails for getting you up and playing. 3+2 hardware. It's kind of got all the standards that you come to expect in a modern day foil board. And this one comes in a 4.8 or a 4.2.
How should people decide between the 4.8 or the 4.2? Is it more their body size, or?
Yeah, I think it's skill level and body size. So if you're riding in a place where you're always struggling light wind, like the foil is your only just for light wind, then having extra board surface isn't going to hurt you. We'll see as we go down the line and talk about the advantages of having a really small board. But for most people, the beginner, the 4.8 is going to be your go-to. If you love this construction, you love the feel of this board, the lightweight, how it works, and you're ready to go down a little bit smaller, you're riding the foil a lot more, then the 4.2 would be a sensible option. I think when I personally ride the board line in these ones now, I prefer the 4.2 because I've been foiling for 2 or 3 years. But again, when I know someone wants to try for the first time or get out on the water, yeah, that's kind of what I steer. This one we have mounted on our flight wing. It's also a big wing style. If you're familiar with our Impulse line, it's like a scaled up version of the Impulse. You can see through the middle, it's got a nice flat section on the leading edge. Again, not going for super wide wings, but things with lift. We want carvy, fun, floaty feel on our foil. We're not pursuing the race category. We're all about just getting out on the water in those really marginal fun conditions and making the most of it. This guy's the Orb. So you can see, following kind of a trend in the hydrofoil market, that a lot of people have learned to hydrofoil. They're ready for smaller boards. We have it's a 310. It's an EPS core. It's got a Negra top and bottom sheets, dual stringers. All that is to have strength so you don't get any negative flex in the board. Concave deck, 3+2 inserts, chined rails, V-hull nose. So you're looking at kind of similar style features to the Galaxy, but in more of a hand-shaped feel. You're not doing a compression molded board. It's a lighter core, track mount. It really is for the person that wants to pocket foil, but wants all the like bells and whistles on their pocket foil as well. It's not super costly, but you know, it's definitely a little bit more than the next board I'll show you, which is kind of gives 2 options in our smaller board style. This one's mounted to our Impulse wing. For those of you that are familiar with the line, you'll know the Impulse wing. It was developed with Cloud 9 surf foils, and the idea is to make a wing that could be paddle surfed and kiteboarded and wake foiled and pump foiled, just to have a really floaty, carvy wing. And again, low lift, maybe a little bit, definitely less than the other 2 that I showed you, which were the glider and the flight. So this is a 110, 120, 125, which is again surface area in square centimeters. So this is 1,100 square centimeters, 1,200 square centimeters, and 1,250 square centimeters. So Impulse. Whoa, we're getting there, we're getting there. We got a couple more boards down here. This one is our, the plank. It's a 3.8. It's a full wood core with a liquid rail. So this would be more similar to like a twin tip style construction that you might see in our board line. And the idea here is to deliver a performance board for somebody that doesn't want to spend an arm and a leg to get kind of a pocket foil. We saw a lot of people making garage like boards, basically like little plywood decks and stuff, and they're like trying to bend rocker into them, and we wanted to offer that person a board in that style for a much more cost-effective thing. So it's got chined rails still. They're pressed.
What's the US retail on that?
Oh man, I wish if I knew I was better, but
we'll put a link in the description.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know it right off the top of my head. That's more of Rich Sabo question. He's kind of the numbers guy. I'm kind of the feel guy. So again, you have like a chined rail that's actually like pushed into this deck. We don't have a track mounting to keep the cost lower, but you can see we have 2 mounting holes. I find that the forward ones work really good for kiteboarding. The rear ones work really good for like wake foiling or anything like that. And I guess a really cool feature on this one, let me see if I can find a wrench real quick. I'll run away just super fast. Is we have it mounted on our quick release collar, which is our way of making foiling a little bit faster. So traditionally you would have to remove 4 bolts to take your foil apart, which is kind of cumbersome. In this case, you just take this little screw out of here, which is 3.5 twists. I've counted it now, and the foil just pops off. You can go ahead and store it in your car or take it home, whatever you need to do. The plate stays on the foil It's just a lot easier way. You can see it's also cut out here to make it more lightweight. So it's just an easier way to get your foil in and out of the water. The biggest, most important thing that you want to, these things that are why they're so hard to make, is because your tolerances need to be really tight so your stuff doesn't move. But if you've ever been to a kiteboarding beach, you'll know that it's full of sand and salt and grit. So making something that's tight and secure for your foil, but not gonna seize up or cause any issues with the sand. So we have a nice beveled surface on the front here that locks in, and then we have a screw that you screw down tight. So you just
pushed forward by the wedge at the back.
Yeah, you just slide that in there. Give yourself a couple twists to get it snug, and then, you know, because it is a screw that's holding it in down here in the back, I like to tighten it down pretty tight, but once you're on there, you're good to go. Now you're going foiling, you're having a great time, and it's certainly a lot quicker than taking the 4 bolts, especially on like that plank board, because without the tracks, you have to it's 2 nuts that come together to keep it working. They're not that hard to pull out, but you've been out in the water for 2 hours, you got to run home, your wife wants you to be home for dinner, you're too late, you know, anything we can do to save time. And I'll grab this last one, just really quick. This one's called the pod foil. And the pod foil is, you can kind of think of it as an upgraded version to the rocket foil. So it's a board that you can fin up, wake surf, ride behind the boat. You can put your foil on, you can go kiteboard on it. You can use it for pumping. You can use it for whatever you really need to. It's in the compression molded family, like the Galaxy board, so it's really lightweight and durable. What's really nice about it is it doesn't have chined rails, and it doesn't have all the things that make a foil board really good for riding on a foil, but not so good at riding on the water. So you have a board that's a lot more multi-use. So for those persons that are like, hey, I kiteboard, I want to wake surf, I want to foil behind my boat, the pod foil board works really well in all those applications. Looks really great, it has our line DVA, it has inserts. We don't have the 3+2, so you can't do the race stance on this one, but a lot of people that are using this wake surfing, they don't want the extra weight of the insert pack, so this is a really great board for anybody that's looking for multi-use. And again, it's mounted on our quick release, so just pop that thing off, good to go, ready to go in the water. And we do have one more foil in our line that I don't have mounted up to any board yet. And this is the thruster. We've had this one in the line for, I think, 2 years now. It was designed by an engineer here in Hood River who wanted to make a foil that was really great for Hood River. He could like launch, it was stable, rip up wind really fast, carve swell, come back down. It's an 85, so 850 square centimeters. So it's more optimized for kiteboarding, going fast, jumping. Like these low lift wings work well for kiteboarding, but they're not gonna propel you to the highest speed possible and have good, fast, speedy release. This thing you see there's no anhedral or dihedral in the wing, so the thing just rolls into carves extremely easy and nimble. It's definitely our like carviest. It's hard to say because these ones are also really carvy, but the carve is a lot smoother and rollier. This is definitely a little bit more of an aggressive ride, and for those people that want to go fast, or maybe it's blowing 40 miles an hour and they do want to go fast, and that's the thruster wing. That's it, that's all of it. I mean, we have surfboards, we have hydrofoil surfboards, we have twin tips, we have all kinds of stuff here. So I encourage you to learn more about the product line by going to liquidforcekites.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks.